Greetings folks, and welcome to another episode of the Smoogleville Workshop, and this week we are going to be replacing this leaky well tank. Right folks, so we're just waiting for my buddy Dan to arrive. Dan, a long time ago, used to actually install wells. I contacted him when this first started leaking and said, hey man, do I need a plumber for this? Is this something I can do? He said, hey man, I'll come over and fix it up for you. So told me what to order. I got all the parts are here, and he's going to be here in a few minutes to show us all how you go about changing a leaky well tank. So this is my buddy Dan, folks. Dan has very kindly agreed to show me the ropes when it comes to well systems, a system with which until now I've had no direct experience. So the process we're going to go through is basically what to replace this.
So what we'll do, we're going to turn our water off to the house, kill power to the pump. We're going to take this, cut our lines, remove this old tank, and then we're going to assemble and put this tank in place and hook everything back up. That's the goal.
Right.
Having killed power to the well pump, Dan's next step is to drain out any remaining water in the old tank. To do this, we're hooking up a short piece of garden hose to the boiler drain valve and putting the other end down a floor drain I have located behind the air handler here. If you don't have a floor drain, you would need a small electric pump to draw out the water and up into a nearby sink. Having drained the tank, the next step is to remove the electrical wires from the pressure switch. This is the device that switches on the well pump when water pressure drops below a certain PSI. In our case, it's a 40-60 switch, so it will energize the well pump when pressure drops to about 38 PSI. Next, Dan takes the parts from the kit I purchased. Starting with the manifold, he uses PTFE sealant for the threads. You can also use PTFE tape just as effectively. Which of the two, tape or liquid, is best is clearly a matter of opinion. I know plumbers who will each swear that their preference is the best and only option. Now we can start to install all the necessary parts. First to go on to the manifold is the pressure release valve. This will open if the water pressure gets too high and is threatening an appliance in the house. This particular one will open above 75 psi. Better to have this valve open for a while downstairs in the basement than to have a faucet permanently blown out upstairs. That would be bad. Next, Dan installs the line gauge. This just allows you to monitor the pressure in the water line. Evidently, the accuracy of these gauges is not guaranteed by the manufacturer past the first reading, so you can take whatever it reads with a pinch of salt after that. Once this hyper-accurate pressure gauge is done, Dan installs the boiler drain valve ready for the next time. With this Wellex Troll, I'm hoping for another 30 years from now. The original tank lasted over 30 years, which is about double the life expectancy of even these high-quality, highly praised, made in the USA well tanks. Next, Dan installs the nipple and pressure switch onto the manifold, and we are in great shape. We're just debating whether to get another turn onto that manifold where it threads into the tank. It's just a little more loose than Dan feels comfortable with. Now to finish removing the original tank. Dan starts undoing all the hose clips and then starts heating the black poly pipe. Heating this will soften the pipe sufficiently that he can simply pull off the original pipe from the fittings. Because this heating will damage the old poly pipe, Dan brought a length of new poly pipe that he'll use to replace the original. Next, he removes the check valve from the original assembly. This rather fat looking section of pipe is actually a one-way valve. It prevents water being drawn back into the well when the pump stops, as this could potentially contaminate the well. Having inspected the state of the check valve and determined that this is in fine working order, this becomes one of the few original parts that gets recycled and installed onto the new tank manifold. We decided to give that manifold one more turn into the tank to get the thread sealed really tight. This should really eliminate any chances of a leak from this connection. Now all that's left to do is to cut the CPVC main pipe and remove the original tank. So we set the new tank in position, and then Dan heats the poly pipe ready to fit the well pipe back onto the check valve. Once the poly pipe is in place and clamped down, and we've transferred the CPVC connector onto our new manifold, Dan's last job here is to replace the electrical wiring in the pressure switch. As I don't have a 3/4 inch coupling for that CPVC pipe at this point, we were not able to commission the new well tank while Dan was still at the house. So Dan left me with some instructions to get the well system charged and ready once I coupled the main water pipe back onto the well tank and fittings.
Okay folks, so I've just been to the store and picked up the one thing we didn't have ready for this job, which was this shark bite. And the reason I've chosen the shark bite to join this connection, we could two reasons. First of all, well, I guess you could say three reasons. First of all, I know these are good. I've used them before. They are, you know, a permanent fix. I've got them elsewhere in this house. They've been there years, no problems. The beauty of a shark bite is you don't have to glue it or sweat it in. You just clip it in, which means I don't have to wait 5, 6, 8 hours for the glue to dry before I can put the water pressure back on. I can do it immediately upon putting this. The third thing, so longevity, ease of installation and no glue drying time. And thirdly, it allows the pipes to spin. So if you have a threaded item that you might want to take off in the future, having a shark bite in line with that helps you it'll spin and let the pipe be unscrewed. So there's three good reasons to use shark bite, folks. Okay, so I'm going to put that in right now. So you want it clean on the inside and the outside. Okay, make sure there's no grease on there so it can get a good grip on it. And we're ready, I think. So let's get our shark bite. Right, there it is. So I'm going to clip this onto the pipe. And so this is the only tricky bit, really. It's getting enough purchase on it to snap it on, and hoping we can do that. Let's snap it onto here first of all. There it goes. Push that on as hard as we can. And that's getting... There it is. Right. That's real snug. Right, and do the same on the outside as well. Let's hope I'm getting enough in there to get a decent grip. I think I have. Okay, that's now in place. So now let's go turn the water on and see how the system works. So let's brought that on. Now I'm leaving the main water turned off. You can hear. Yeah, that's filling up. Yeah. And the pressure's gone up on the line. It's showing, it's reading 50 now. And so this clicked on and should be pushing water into the tank. I don't see any leaks so far. Looks all good. This is open. Okay, so water is up here. So I'm gonna see if I can use this little bleed valve to get the air out of the line. There we go. That's probably got most of it. Right, so now I don't hear any more clicking, so I think this is filled, our tank is filled to the bladder. You know, the bladder is now full of water, So we should have water pressure. So I'm going to open the house up now, run some taps, get some air out, and we should be in good shape. Get the air out. It doesn't seem to be too bad actually. So folks, there it is. One replaced well tank. Excellent. No sign of leaks. I'll have a tidy up now and a clean up, and that hopefully will give us another 30 years of service. That original tank was in here since '88, and it's, you know, January of 2001 now, so, you know, do the math. That thing's gone well past its 30 years. Anyway, let's hope this one's as good. We've got the same, we've got the best. These are the best, the Wellex Troll. These are made with the best quality parts. They last a long time, and many companies won't install anything else, so that was a good enough endorsement for me. So and I saw them being made on YouTube, so what goes into building these, brilliantly done, and they invented these kind of tanks, so pretty good. All right, there we are folks.
Well folks, Dan not only knows a lot about wells, but he is primarily a taxidermist, and you can find him at Wildcat Taxidermy, which is based in Boyce, Virginia. And so please check him out at these following locations if you are ever in need of a very talented and gifted taxidermist.
And Dan was able to identify the holes where the leaks were. Look at that, it's actually leaking through the side of the tank. So we got basically some pin leaks. So at some point the inner bladder has, at least part of it has failed, and it's actually bored its way through the tank now, and that's where those leaks were. And they'd actually managed to seal themselves up with some, you know, rust, calcifications, mud, who knows. They managed to seal themselves up. So there's still actually quite a lot of water in that tank. But you know what? This was a Wellex, good old Wellex Troll, and that has been down here for well over 30 years. And it took that long for our water to finally eat its way through. And that's double the life expectancy of a tank, by the way. Typically about 15 years was a good average for that, and this one is in fact over 30 years old, so really good. So needless to say, it was a no-brainer to make sure that I installed the same brand again. Definitely worth it. And so far, no sign of leaks.